Bonjour et bienvenue sur Overview. How did I do?
That's really good.
Okay, good to hear, good to hear. So guys, I'm joined by GetAmazed. He's been kind enough to lend me a couple of minutes, and we're just going to talk about just some of the stuff that's going on with the roster at the moment, and some stuff from Paris and the year in between. So GetAmazed, look, before I go anywhere with it, I just want to know what got you into coaching and what got you into Overwatch?
So basically, at the very beginning, I was playing World of Warcraft, and one of my really close friends told me like there is a new game like Overwatch, we need to try it. So like I tried, but at the same time, back then I was like working, real job, security, like all of this. So it was just for fun. Then I had to stop like working for like 9 months, and I just keep playing, and I finally had an opportunity to become professional. So I just kept going, and I become a pro player. Then I was too old to become like a player anymore, to be a player anymore. So I decided to switch to the coaching position.
And did you have any experience in a coaching role or something similar beforehand? Like in your job, were you an educator of any kind?
So basically, when I was doing like a bodyguard or like a bouncer, I was always like the team leader. So even when I was playing like rugby, I always like it's a little bit like in the way I am. I like to lead people. So just like life experience, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think just a lot of time when I speak to coaches, they tend to have something outside of the coaching that they do that brings it in. So you found yourself in the Overwatch League with Paris, which I mean is a fantastic achievement in itself. But not only that, you've now found yourself in the Overwatch League twice. So could you talk to me a little bit about maybe the first time, what the experience was like for you, and how it was in general?
So the first year in the Overwatch League, it was like extremely tough actually, like being like coaching from home on being my first time as a coach in the Overwatch League, and also my first time as a head coach, because I always be like I was like player development coach. So it was actually my first time as a head coach. So it was like extremely challenging, but I love like being challenged. So I actually like really enjoyed it. It was pretty tough because I was working like so much, but I really liked it. Yeah, it was really nice.
And just on that then, how did the role differ from player development to head coach? Obviously, head coach has much more responsibilities. What kind of extra things would you take on as a head coach?
So basically, like when I was an assistant, I was just like the guy who whisper things, like say, hey, I think this thing is not good. This thing, like I was just like adjusting every single time and whispering my idea if like I have a better idea or something like that. And I was also like taking care of like every player's like their feelings and stuff, making sure like they can perform really well, all of this. And now as a head coach, you need to like focus on everything. You need to have the final word if like we are unsure about the composition or strategy or whatever. You really need to be like the captain of the team. Like you need to be aware of everything what's going on. Give like work to your assistant coach if they don't know what to do. Like always make sure like you're aware of what's going on in your team, and it's like extremely challenging and busy as a job. But yeah, I really love it. Yeah.
And one of the key things, like I've done a small amount of coaching myself, but one of the key things that I focused on was kind of player mentality, and I suppose player development in a sense, but we focused a lot on how we develop as a team and keeping our mental strong, goal setting, that sort of stuff. Would you consider that an important enough role that you might delegate an assistant coach to specifically the mental performance, or do you think that's something the head coach should take on?
To be honest, like I don't like to take like all credit. So if I feel like my assistant can do it, I will let him do it. Like I have no problem with that. As long as the player is happy, I don't mind like how it's done. So yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, anyone can do it. If he's able to do it, he just do it. Yeah.
Okay, so now Washington Justice at the moment, the roster has been flooding out currently. You gave me a little bit of a sneak peek into it beforehand, but it's looking great. It's looking like a really diverse group, and one of the key things that you spoke about was flexibility. So is this something you looked for across every role and every player, or do you pick up a few key pieces, like for example Mirror, for flexibility?
The thing is like I really believe that like mental and flexibility is the key to perform in Overwatch at a really high level, and being like that much flexible allow you to first of all not have like 12 players in your roster, and also having 12 players for me it's like just so bad. Like I rather have like almost like even 5 players that like play every single time and play everything, you know. So like they have a very good synergy. So yeah, being flexible is very important for me because they can cover everything without like being on the bench. You know, like I don't like to have like really specialist players. I don't really like that, to be honest. So yeah, like being flexible allow you also to cheese on some fights. Like for example, like back then when I was in Paris against Glad, when we have a sweep, I don't know if you remember, we were losing 2-0, we come back 3-3.
Yeah.
Like my players are like amazing and super flexible. You know, Naga came with a Farah, he just like popped off and we end up winning, you know, with some cheese comps and stuff. So yeah, being flexible allow you to do like many things, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and just Naga on the Farah was actually something we saw today actually in the semi-finals for Danish Mafia. But yeah, so again, flexibility absolutely vitally important. What about when you're searching for an assistant coach and assistant coaches in general? What's some traits that you look for in those, or is it maybe people you've worked with before that you lean towards?
So basically, like it's really hard for me most of the time to trust my assistant because when I was in contenders, it was hard for me to actually like work so much because I had like 2 jobs on the side. So I was like working like 2 jobs plus Overwatch. So it was really hard to work hard. But when I'm like in the Overwatch League, I do like only that. So I spend literally my life like doing this. So I find it hard for me to find someone who can work as much as me. So it was really hard, you know, like to get like the best assistant coach possible. So yeah, from my past experience, I mean, from them I think the announcement will be made, so we can just say it, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I just pick like G-Mac because I really miss him and I know that we fit so well together. Also, he speaks Korean and English, so it allowed me to not have a translator, so that's really great. And the thing with Danny is like I didn't want to have like any assistants, and he just like suggested me his help for free at the beginning. Like he just told me like, hey man, I just want to work, like I just want to have fun, like just let me help you, just like this, you know. So I was like, okay, why not? So I ended up like being allowed to have like an assistant, and I told him, okay, hey man, like I can offer you a job if you want to, and yeah.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Like, and I suppose was it you said motivation, flexibility were the 2 things, and so motivation is, you know, that shows it in that. Exactly. That's really great.
Yeah.
And just on the topic of motivation, there, like you hadn't gone back to back Overwatch League. You did have a stint in contenders as well, and that for players especially can be very, very tough. But from a coach perspective, what was that return to contenders like for you?
Honestly, it was like a very tough time because I felt like I did a good job with Paris back then, and I had like so much hype. People was telling me like I'm the coach of the year, all of this, you know. So it was really hard to go from there to LFT again, you know. So I mean, I just said like I'm not gonna, you know, like just like give up, and so like I started like having like 2 jobs on the side, keep like coaching in contenders, helping people. I used to go like to Saudi Arabia to coach some Saudi teams, you know, for Saudi E-League. So like it was really challenging, and at the same time I was like trying my best to find a new opportunity, and yeah.
And speaking of new opportunities, then something that we haven't touched on yet has been your announcement as head coach for the French team for the World Cup. Is this something you'd like to maybe chat about a little bit on what's going on so far?
Yeah.
So can you talk to me a little bit about how you and the other committee members, Fefe and Anarchy, are compiling this team for France?
So basically, like we already talked like with like the French coach of the team, and without asking, they already told me like we will not apply, like it's just gonna be you, I guess. So I'm not gonna look for the credit. So basically, like everyone who is helping me, I will just give a shout out every single time, you know. So yeah, like we already have a list of like potential player of like I'm interested into it. But from for now, like nothing started yet. Like there is like this land and all of this, so yeah, we're just waiting for now.
Yeah.
But I have names in my head, obviously.
Would it be a fair assessment to make that maybe some of the players that you're interested in for the Overwatch League would be some you're interested in for the French team?
I mean, I believe it's like kind of obvious. If you are in the Overwatch League, it means you're a very good player, and if you're a very good player, I'm not interested. But like the thing is, like I'm always open for like new talent players, you know. So even if like for example, let's say like I like Ben Best, he's great. If like a guy like Crocs or like Timo or whatever, like any tank actually pop off, I will not close my eyes. Like I will still see it, you know. So like nothing is closed yet. So they will be judged like fairly, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's really great for any French players out there now, that they can still feel like that there is a spot for them there.
Sure.
It's on them. It's not on anybody else. Look, GetAmazed, I won't take you for too much longer here now. Look, I really appreciate you. Like I said to you at the start, it was your interview with Yiska that really kind of made me want to get into this, and so it means a lot to me to have you here. So look, I wish you the best of luck with with your flight and with your year ahead, and I hope Washington pop off.
Thank you so much, man.
Take care. Thank you.